6.4 is good.
Measuring blood sugar, the daily ritual of many older South Asian men. Ved Sharma was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes 7 years ago. Soon, there were complications. He developed foot problems. Then last year, he had a stroke.
The symptom.
So this is an article about immigrant health, and this gentleman, South Asian descent, has diabetes, and it's really sad when I see them injecting themselves and getting complications from type 2 diabetes, which is preventable.
It showed me the clot is a very serious clot over there. Eventually, I was in the hospital and they found out my left eye is totally affected. So 80% vision was gone. Thanks.
Sharma admits in middle age he didn't pay too much attention to what he ate. There were also other factors that put his health at risk.
Yes, of course, you can say I was never fond of exercising, never fond of walking. That is what the doctor said, you know.
A lot of times doctors will talk about exercise. There's nothing wrong, you know, obviously with taking a walk and that, but the core problem is the food, and that's why I'm trying to do this video, is just to emphasize that, you know, you got to get rid of the fatty animal foods, the oils, and the processed foods. They mention this later, which is great a little bit, but a lot of times doctors, and there's another video I'm going to do about some of the food companies like Coca-Cola that are trying to put the emphasis on exercise instead of the diet. So let's just continue this.
Sharma is part of a men's cohort at highest risk of diabetes, according to a study of 3,000 patients in the Toronto area. In the last decade, South Asian men have seen their rate of diabetes more than double. A similar increase for black women. They also have the highest rate of obesity of everyone surveyed, 1 in 5. Of the men, white men still lead in obesity, but Chinese men have seen the sharpest increase in the last 5 years. All, of course, leading to a greater risk of heart disease and stroke.
It's especially alarming.
One of the upsetting things for me is these cultures that are really healthy. China study, you know, showed that people that ate a plant-based diet had really low rates of cancer, heart disease. So you've got Chinese, Africans, South Asians are coming to North America. This is even Canada now. And they're eating a lot of processed foods, animal foods and stuff like that, and they're getting all these diseases that are totally diet related. So, you know, a lot of people think when they get a disease like heart disease or cancer and stroke, diabetes, that it's just, you know, just a bad luck situation, and they're willing to do all these things, all these surgeries and drugs and injections and daily blood tests just to avoid really the core issue. And it's just really sad, because if Chinese people get back to the roots, you know, a lot of the rice and vegetables and other cultures that eat, you know, high starch type of diet, the health would just return. And so just wanted to point that out. Let's just continue this. She does mention the health
Because
diet.
People of Asian background tend to be more sensitive to weight gain, which means that even small increases in weight can increase their risk of diabetes and other major diseases by much more than the white population.
Chu says contributing to the problem are socioeconomic factors, which include lower incomes, language barriers, and not living in walkable neighborhoods. But it's hard to ignore what Chu calls the healthy immigrant effect. The longer they live here, the poorer the eating habits, more snacking, more meat, and more processed foods.
There are trends that we've observed where fruits and vegetable consumption has declined in many of the ethnic groups. And this means that their diet is getting progressively worse.
The findings point to the need to step up existing awareness programs to reach these communities before it's too late. Vicadopia, CBC News, Mississauga, Ontario.
So yeah, there you go. It's just really sad to see them injecting themselves, you know, in the stomach and everything like that, and I'm suggesting that if you have
Wellness
diabetes
is so much
and some of
more
these other
than
issues, that you look at eating a starch-based diet, which would be potatoes, rice, beans, oats. You know, you can have pasta, whole wheat pasta, whole grain breads, fruit, and we just got to get back to the basics here. And it's so obvious that when these cultures, when the people come from the other countries and they adopt our diet, that they gain the weight and get all these diseases, these foodborne illnesses. And the thing is that, you know, this is actually being exported to other countries as well. So we're, you know, even in China and these places, the Western foods are and the fast food joints and the meats are being exported to these countries as they get more money and are able to afford the rich Western diet. And they're eating like kings and queens, and they're looking and developing diseases like kings and queens, the typical heart disease, cancer, stroke, and diabetes, obesity that I've mentioned. So just trying to put the message out there that you don't have to suffer from these diseases. The vast majority can reverse these conditions with a low-fat, plant-based diet. And so hopefully that helps you guys. Bye-bye.